What a day. What a day. YouTube, good afternoon, welcome back to another video. I said that I wasn't going to film today. I said if there was going to be a video, it was just going to be a Q&A, and I decided not to vlog on the most eventful day of this holiday so far. I've got these crazy stories about what happened today, but no footage to show for it, which is so frustrating, but I'm going to try and portray the stories to you in word form rather than video form or picture form. And I thought these stories would make a little bit more of an interesting video than just a standard Q&A. I might still do a couple of questions at the end of this story, but I want to start with what happened today. So before I get into the story, I want to give you a little bit of context. All right, when I go out for a bike ride, anything under 2 hours, I will take one inner tube, and I will take like some patches. My preferred ones are the Park Tools little patch things, just because of the convenience. They just stick on, there's no messing about. They're nice and easy and nice and simple to use. So I take an inner tube in my saddlebag and a patch, and then any ride over 2 hours I will take 2 tubes. Simple, okay? Yeah, got it right. Well, today I went out riding this morning, and I was riding along, and suddenly I started riding past this huge old abandoned mill on my right hand side. So naturally I started to have a look at it to check it out and see what it was all about, and then bang, I hit the biggest pothole you have ever seen. It came out of nowhere. It literally came out of nowhere. I did not see it at all. I had no time to dodge out of it. I hit it before I saw it, if that kind of makes sense. Because I was looking away, I was looking at this huge mill literally for half a second, and when I hit this pothole, inevitably both my front wheel and my back wheel just went bang. They went straight down. I knew straight away it was an impact puncture of my front and my back wheel. So 200 yards up the road I pulled in, stopped, and I thought, okay, great, I've got one spare tube, and I've also got my my Park Tool patch. It's going to be okay. I'm going to be able to repair it, and I'm going to be able to get home or continue on with my ride. So I changed my front inner tube, no problem, pumped it back up, and it was fine. Then the problem arose when I tried to repair my rear inner tube. So when you get an impact puncture, it's called a snake bite puncture, and essentially what this means is, if this is the inner tube, you've got one hole on this side and one hole on this side, because when you ride over the pothole, the impact creates a hole in both sides of the inner tube, and therefore one stick-on repair patch doesn't cover both those holes. You can kind of see where I'm going with this story. So anyway, the patches were out of the question. I thought, okay, think about this, Cameron. What are we going to do here? We've got one wheel which is perfectly fine. We've got another wheel which isn't. We've got a patch, but we've got a snake bite puncture, so we can't repair that. So I thought, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the inner tube on the chain where the holes are. Then I'm going to tie the inner tube in a knot, stretch it over my wheel, pump it up just enough, not too much pressure, but just enough to get home, and it'll be okay. So that is what I did. I cut the inner tube, just using the front chainring, just going back and forth. Chainrings are quite sharp, it had no problem doing that. And then I tried to tie the knot as small as possible, so it didn't impact my wheel too much. So I tied the knot, put the tube back onto my wheel, started pumping it up, and it pumped up. I thought, we've done it. We have fixed it. We've fixed this puncture. I'm going to be able to get home okay. I started riding about 1 mile down the road. It went flat again, completely flat. And it turns out air particles are very, very small, okay? And a small number of those particles were escaping through this little knot that I made. So when I put my wheel up with my frame pump, I would get about 1 mile of range out of it. Then I would have to stop, pump it up again. And then I did a little bit of calculations. I was about 12 miles away from home. I had to stop every mile. That would have been 12 stops. It probably would have taken me an hour and a half to get home, and I was kind of a little bit screwed at this point. I was thinking, is there any bike shops open that I can go and get a new inner tube at? But it was about 8 o'clock in the morning, or 8:30 in the morning. There was no bike shops open at 8:30 in the morning. No one at home was awake who could have come out and give me a lift home. So I'd stopped for the second time at the top of this big hill outside a place called Cromford, and I stopped there. I was sat on the wall, sort of deliberating, thinking of my options. What could I do here? And then suddenly a car pulls up next to me and stops, and I think, here we go, what's going on here? Suddenly the guy wound down the window and said, "Cameron, I know you, it's Cameron." I was like, yeah, and he said, "Do you need any help? Why are you just sat on the wall? You're not riding, your bike's there. What's going on?" I said, "Dude, you haven't got an inner tube, have you?" I'm struggling here. I've got a back wheel which is letting down air, and I need a new inner tube, therefore I can get home in a reasonable time. He said, I'm sorry, I've not got any inner tubes, but I can give you a lift. So this amazing guy called Adam, who watches the videos, recognized me, stopped to see if I was all right, because he knew I should have been riding, and instead I was just sat on the wall and something just didn't look quite right. So he stopped and said, yo Cam, is everything okay? He ended up giving me a lift home. He was an absolute legend. So Adam, if you're watching this, thank you so much. You saved my day. I'm gonna put the link to Adam's Instagram and his username in the description box down below. Please go over there and send him some love, because Adam, he saved my day. But that is not where the eventful day ended. I'm currently balancing this camera on my car, the car which I'm locked out of. So I took my keys in my back pocket when I went riding this morning, because as I was coming out I needed to get something from my car, so I just rode out, unlocked my car, got what I needed to get out, and then I put my keys back in my pocket and then just started my riding. I couldn't be bothered going back into the cottage to put my keys back. I thought they'll be okay in my pocket, I will just go for a ride, and when I come home, take my keys out and it'll be fine. It will be fine. How wrong was I? So I got home, went to get my keys out, and long story short, I lost my keys. I've lost my car keys. They must have fallen out at some point when I stopped. I've actually been out to the place where I punctured, and also to the 2 or 3 places where I stopped to pump up my tyres. I've been back there, I've searched everywhere, and I can't find my car keys. So I rang AA to see if they could you know, come out and unlock the car and print me a new key, but the price of that was ridiculous. So what we're doing is my dad is sending the spare key from back home, overnight courier to here, to my holiday location, so it'll be here tomorrow morning. Then I can open my car and drive home. I told you today was an eventful day, but we're here, I'm stood here talking to the camera. It could always be worse.